I was actually scratching a ticket. Can I walk out back?
Yeah.
I mean...
No, that's just, I communicate with that.
It's not just ghosts. It's not just cryptozoology or aliens. It's all of it.
And what are we doing today, Matt?
Almost like Chewbacca. Like, you guys want to do a little beatbox live? Where am I? Anybody seen me? Hey! Ho, ho, ho! It's Banter with Santa. I told you that. I told you I was coming with something big. Come on, man. Pay attention, people. Hang on. My mustache is itchy. Something like this. How's everybody doing tonight, man? Hey, check it out. Anybody recognize this? Anybody recognize this? Look. You know what that was in? That was in my video out in the woods looking for Bigfoot. Oh, yeah. I figured I'd wear it tonight for the occasion. I'm super pumped, super psyched. I got my friend Matt Shearer here from WBZ Radio and Iheart Radio. And, yeah, he's going to enlighten us on some different things in his life. I want to get into a little bit of paranormal because we're going to start knocking on that door. Like I told you guys, we're going to add another night for paranormal, some ghosts and things like that. Oh, dear, bad Santa. Starting that already? Sorry, I went side. Don't. Where'd he go? Hey, I don't see my questions anywhere. Where'd it go? Bobby Lee, help me. I'm lost. I don't see all my questions. Do you see them up on yours? So who's here tonight? I can't see anything. Let me see. I'm going to move over. Hang on. How did this go down? You see that? When did that go up? Yeah, see? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't even do that last time. Last time I was already in the studio. I got Ron here. I'm going to say hi to everybody first, man, all right? Because that way it helps with my ADD and all that stuff. All right? Of course, Donnie's here. What's this? Hailstone, what did you write? Snada? Snada. What's this? Huh? What do you got, 4 thumbs? Oh, there's Ronnie. What's up, Ron? I already corrected it, I see. Yeah, too late. We already saw it. Hey, Zach, what's up, dude? Hey, welcome. I haven't seen you here. Have I seen you here before? I don't think so. Fancy meeting you here, sir. Hey, listen up, man. We got all kinds of fun stuff, man, we're going to get into tonight, man. I got a few surprises for our guest. My friend and producer, Bobby Lee's been working really hard on a Christmas present for him. Just don't tell him because he's backstage and he can hear us. All right, don't say anything. Anyways, yeah, we got things up our sleeve. We always do, right? So, hey, this past week, what's up, Timmy? Oh, Timmy's coming in. Walter Burt, Crypto Santa. They all got names. You guys all got jokes tonight, huh? I like that. Christmas spirit, everybody. I just decorated my tree. Red up top, white in the middle, blue on the bottom. America, you know what I'm saying? So real quick, I want to get into a little bit of stuff that's been going on. We went out last week. I put some stuff up. Not all the evidence, but some stuff up on Facebook or wherever. And YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And, yeah, we went out with the Burks and checked out the super top secret location and where they were putting out recorders for, like, you know, Sasquatch and different sounds and things like that. And I got to be honest, man, I think they're onto something. Like, we were out in the middle of nowhere. We had to go four-wheeling, a place where a RAV4 electric vehicle would never make it, by the way. Just bringing up that little tidbit right there. Just randomly came to my mind. I figured I'd share it with you. And we were like 2 miles in off the road and, you know, 4-wheel drive all the way out there. And then you get out of the vehicle and you walk like, you know, like 100 yards, say, right? Just give or take. And there's a wide open set of power lines there. As far as the eye could see, I was looking to my left. You could actually see the mountains in New Hampshire. It was that clear, that far away, but you could see everything. So that's the old Sasquatch highway, right, that they talk about. And then we went into the woods and we started finding different markers and twists and things like that. I'm not going to give it all away. We have a new game plan in place that we're actually going to keep investigating this spot a little bit. And then we're going to do a follow-up show after the first of the year about this location, super top secret. And a couple of posts I put up looked like shelters were made and trees were bent. And the weird thing about the trees, man, they were bent at the trunk. Some of them were slightly fractured, but most of them almost looked like they were boiled and softened so you could bend them. It was really, really weird. And it was like from both sides. And I don't know, it was really cool. So anyways, I got some extra footage for that coming up. Getting good at these teasers, aren't I? And then we're actually going to put out some recorders directly in that area. I gave the Burks a homework assignment. And if they can stay on their feet, then we can get this done, right? So we're going to put some recorders out there, and then we're going to follow up. Like I said, after the first of the year, we're going to have a show. We're going to have the Burks back on, and hopefully pick something up. And if we don't, that's fine. We're going to give you what we got. It is what it is, whatever comes our way. You know, if we hear birds, we hear birds. If we hear raccoons, we hear raccoons, you know. Blurry screen. Do I got a blurry screen? No, you are the only one, Sean. What'd you do to your screen, buddy? Did you break it? What's this? Oh, there's Wojo. Wojo's here. He was my guest Bigfooter. He went out with me on that to meet the Burks. And it's funny because I kind of was like, came up with this brainstorm, like, hey, you want to be like the fan that goes out Bigfooting with Richie B? And he's like, yeah, let's go. You know, he was like, ready to go, drop of a hat. You know, he's into that. So we just had a great day. And the good thing about having a guy like him around is he's been out in the woods. He's been hunting. He's done all that stuff, you know. So it was nice having his perspective and some things that he couldn't explain away. So it's a really cool area. And I'm grateful for my new friendship with the Burks. And I think we're going to have a nice future as far as doing different shows together and pulling up different things. You know what I mean? Take settings off. You see this? Auto set up to 720. Who's he talking to? Who are you talking to, Ronald? Don't yell at me like that. Why are you always yelling at me, Ron? I've known you 152 years. Santa's very old. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. So, anyways, I want to say hi to everybody on my Get Haunted network. What's up, family? All my podcasting friends, Sarah and Rob over there. Thank you as always, for having us. We really appreciate it. We love being here, and we love being included in the paranormal community, which I do have some paranormal stuff coming at you very soon. So we're going to start adding that. We wanted to get our feet wet with what I kind of knew and what's comfortable with, and then we can just roll because, you know, I feel pretty comfortable. I mean, I wear Santa Claus out in public, don't get me wrong, but I get pretty comfortable pretty quick. I don't know if you guys realize that yet, but thank you to the Get Haunted crew and platform and everybody out there. So we really appreciate you guys and would love to get a hello from you out anytime during the show, a shout out. So we're going to set up an investigation for after. Well, thank you, Donald. We're going to set up a big show, big follow up with the Burks for after the first of the year is what I'm trying to spit out. Okay. So that's going to be a huge follow up. Pay attention to that. I got some great guests coming, great guests lined up. I've been kind of, getting comfortable, getting my feet wet, weaving in and out of the woods, so to speak, to see different guests, get different perspectives. I have one person that is an eyewitness to a Sasquatch that I want to have him on and talk to me. Something we haven't done, and I would love to hear their perspective as what they saw and how they saw it and how they felt afterwards. All the things that I've experienced just with the sounds and things like that, being growled at, the different crazy structures on my property that I know that, no human could make, even those things I find stunning and has like altered my mind pattern, so I can imagine looking at something as majestic as that, so what's it? Oh yeah. The Burks are definitely gifts. They're great people. And then Zach McSweeney, sorry, would love to see you power wash with full Santa outfit on. Okay. Someone thinks about me or Santa way too much. But thank you. That's right, Zachary McSweetie. You've won. So, yeah, we're super psyched for that. So we got a lot of great things coming, man. Make sure you stay up on the TikTok, the Instagram, the Banter, RichieB.com/shop. I'm getting better at that. Check out our stuff on our website. There's a lot of different things in there as well. I'm supposed to be writing a bio. Don't tell my producer. I haven't done it yet. Okay. I'm not very good at essays. All right. So yeah, keep up to date on all that stuff. So if you don't know who Matt Shearer is, I've tried to tell you about it. I'm hoping you guys did your homework. Okay. It's just some of these things just kind of land in your lap. Nothing weird, Matt. Just landed in my lap. Okay. But it was awesome because sometimes you click with somebody, sometimes you connect with somebody, sometimes you just don't really know at first, and then you're like, oh, dude, all right, yeah. And then you can jive, you know what I mean? So you got the same vibe, you know, you understanding things, right? Well, once I learned who he was, I started looking at his work, man. And his work is you go on to like different Twitter, same formats, you know, that we all have, platforms, excuse me, I keep doing that, as we all kind of have and navigate through, right? So once I discovered what he was doing, I started scrolling down. Some of the little shorts that he does are funny and just lighthearted, like the one that we did. You know, it had a point to it. It had an angle, like the Bridgewater Triangle was kind of the angle, you know. And then he just cut out the blurbs of me being me, I guess, you know, because you got most people who know me. I'm pretty outgoing. I like to laugh. I like to joke. I love to make humans laugh and have a fun time and just be free, you know. So he kind of picked up on that, I think, and put that into that cut that he did with us. But if you go on and look up his stuff on Twitter and stuff like that, or sorry, X, excuse me, sorry, settle down, Elon. So if you go on that and check it out, right, you'll see, you can almost tell the dude's thought process, you know what I mean? And happy and serious and caring and just, to me, an amazing human. So I am all about humans being good to humans. And I've spoken about it 1,000 times around here. You all know what I've been through. After my son, I've changed my whole direction in life, my whole mindset. And we got to be good to each other and help each other out any way we possibly can. So even if it's the littlest thing that you think is the littlest thing, it could be so big to that other person, man. It's Christmas time, you know, especially this time of year. People are hurting. I just hung an ornament on the tree about my son, you know, has his name on it with little angel wings, you know. And we had a moment. We had a family moment, you know. It's this time of year where you got to connect with whoever you can. Pick up that phone, you know what I mean? Have a good laugh with somebody, you know. They just might be needing you. You know, you probably need it. You just don't know it because you're probably strong and we all individually cover things up and roll forward, right? Anyways, my point to this is the type of stuff this dude does, right? So then I start talking to him. Guess what? He does paranormal stuff, man. He likes the paranormal. I'm like, oh, serious? Yeah, okay. Now I can dig it, right? So now we're really talking, right? So we got some paranormal stuff. He might even have a piece of evidence he sent into us. He definitely does. And I got it, of an EVP. And if you don't know what an EVP is, electronic voice phenomena, basically is when I have one on one of my recorders that are down here with me. Actually, I don't leave the batteries in anymore because I think it has a life of its own. But it tells me to get out. You know what I mean? Like in a real ominous type scary voice, right? And I've had that for a decade or more. So and you can almost hear it break through the frequency sometimes. Kind of go, you know, not as loud. I'm just trying to exaggerate a little bit so you can get the idea of what I'm talking about. So that was a cool angle on him. So I was like, oh, really cool. And he was open-minded enough to come out and check out the Bridgewater Triangle and hear my squawking about Bigfoot and things like that. And we even walked up on something that I didn't see on my property before that was there because I hadn't been out back in months or maybe even longer. But I'll show it to you, and we're going to show that too, as far as a piece of evidence once we get to the Bigfoot portion of the show. So without any further ado, I'm going to take off my Santa costume because I don't want anybody to think I'm Santa and want gifts. So I am going to put on my sun hat. Here we go. My Jack's hat. JRB, right? We all know JRB. Jack Richard, bro. I'm coming. We are going to bring our friend Matt, and I want you all ask questions. I mean, about whatever, you know, check out his stuff. If you're sitting here, talking and listening to us, grab your phone and check out his stuff, check out his work, let's bring Matt to the stage. Where is he? There he is. He's coming in hot. You ready? Matt Shearer, everybody.
Boom! Woo!
Yes, everybody.
Oh
This is Matt Shearer. Did I get all your stuff right? I mean, I always stop myself right because the whole WBZ thing. So it's like it's not this, but it's that. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're good. Yeah, you nailed it. You pronounced my name right. My name is very hard to pronounce in New England because it has 2 R's. Matt Shearer.
Yeah,
people get
Shearer.
I get that all the time, and so I'll get emails Shira whatever. It's like, no, that's not it. But you nailed it right off the bat.
You know what's funny is it's funny because my last name is Brault, and all my life because it has so many like vowels jammed in close to each other.
Yeah,
everybody's like they got to pronounce every letter. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're putting people through a lot of stress, I think, when they see how many vowels there are. It's like, okay, the order of the vowels, it's like they're remembering order of operations from math class. So like EAUL. But if it were UEA, then it would be different. Yeah.
And then I'm like, what does sometimes Y have to do with anything? Just write my name, you know? No,
throw a Y in there just to have it. Like,
I really should. I mean, just why not? Brawlty, right? I mean, they call my son that in football, so that would work, right? Brawlty, right?
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking it would be more like a Icelandic thing, like an Ebralt at the beginning. I don't know. Put the Y in there. Is that Icelandic? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm not Icelandic. At least not that I know of. 23 and me didn't tell me anything about that.
I wouldn't even freaking know that you mentioned that. I'm like, is that what? I don't even. What is Icelandic? Is it an icy place, or is that like? Iceland?
No, that's the whole thing with Iceland. Is it's not icy, right? Because the Vikings wanted to throw off invaders by calling the green one Iceland and the icy one Greenland. That's at least that's the urban legend I was told back in the day.
You know that makes me wonder when that conversation came up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When does that conversation come up, right? Like, hey, I have an idea, you know, Eric the whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I got an idea, you know, we're over here, it's very cold, let's tell everybody it's green.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then so Eric the whatever got on his boat and sailed over across the sea and had to get everyone on the continent on board with it, and then went back and got everyone else on board with it. I mean, yeah, they couldn't just open up, WhatsApp and send a group chat message in the Iceland group chat.
Right. Like, how did that become a thing? And did the person who thought of it get a raise? Like, does he get an extra beefsteak or something? You know what I mean? Like,
he had to break into all the not prehistoric, but ancient libraries and cross off Iceland on all the maps and just write Greenland.
Fool everybody.
Swap them around. Yeah.
It's freaking brilliant. And I don't even know if it's true, but I'm going to roll with it. All right. It's unbelievable. Right. So anyways, I don't know how the hell we got there. It's probably because you and I sat down together for 2 minutes.
This is what, again, 100%. This is what happens. People get mad when they do interviews with me because off the rails is kind of my thing. People ask me all the time, oh, what's your beat in the newsroom? And it's really, honestly, just to go somewhere and go off the rails. And
you're in the right place.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think that's probably why we clicked right off the bat.
Yeah, you knew off the rails when you saw it. Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean?
And I mean off the bat very literally, in the sense that when I pulled up, you're this big dude standing there with a bat saying, "Come with me to the woods." And I'm like, I was just like, and of course and by the way, big shout out. So I feel bad for anybody who's hearing this conversation that hasn't seen the video yet, but Rich took me into his backyard to check out some potential Bigfoot evidence. I brought along with me the amazing soap opera actress, Annika Noel, and props to her for not only allowing me to drive her an hour out of Boston to Bridgewater to let 2 strange men show her into the woods, one of them carrying a bat. Like, if that's not like, this is a cool chick, then I don't know what it is. She was super cool about the whole thing. And not only that, she was like really invested in the whole Bigfoot thing.
She got the tree that went down between the other trees. Yeah. And you said, I didn't think you knew anything about this. And she said she learned a lot of things in the woods of Sudbury.
Which I can completely relate to, having grown up in Acton, Massachusetts. Like, literally a fun day in the pre-smartphone era was just to go into the woods and see what you find.
Exactly. That's what we did, man. She was great.
Yeah.
And listen, and another shout out to me. All right, because sometimes that's what I do, right? Because I've learned to do this. All right, the therapist said it's fine. I can give myself a shout out. Relax. Okay, sorry. I did really good filming of you two playing the Bigfoot game thing when she was the victim and you were like,
yes,
yeah, that was good, right?
That's a nice little behind the scenes nugget to put on IMDb someday. Is that you were the one holding the camera for that shot? Great job.
I did that. I was like, hey, listen, I got this. Relax, actress and editor guy. You know what I mean? Relax. Everybody relax. Let the guy with the bat have the phone. You know, I mean, I got the bat in one hand.
My thinking was if I gave you the phone, that would be less of a hard swing you could do with the bat. I was protecting myself, really.
That's true.
And Annika.
You were brilliant. Oh, look at it. Look at this. Time out. Look at this. Time out. Ready? What is that, Sean Hailstone? Why is this thing called Iceland and Greenland called Greenland when Iceland is green and Greenland has huge amounts of ice? Some people think it's because of the people discovered Iceland want to keep it for themselves and encourage people to go on to further and more tropically named Greenland. Whilst this isn't correct. There is a grain of truth in it, and the actual answer is unexpected. And the answer is, what is going on in my life right now?
I love that.
See what we did? We did that.
Yeah, we're learning something. We're getting people to copy off Wikipedia right now. It's excellent.
We're educational. Who freaking knew that?
I think we owe Wikipedia some money.
No, we don't. We don't even know where the guy. We don't even know where the guy is. Just leave it alone, okay?
Right.
Just let it go. So Walter has a very less educational question. He wants to know: did he have a creepy white van?
I assume he means you, the guy with the bat trying to get strangers into the woods.
Yeah, that's a great assumption, Matt. Thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah,
that did it. All right.
So I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, you had like a hot rod or something in the driveway, right? Like it wasn't like a cool red car.
86 Mustang convertible.
Damn.
Yeah. But 5.0, but whatever. It was just a little Fox body, nothing big. You know what I mean? But I'm like, on the side, it still said candy. That's the thing that threw you off.
But to be clear, like a guy with a hot rod and a baseball bat and a guy with a van and a baseball bat are both equally dangerous for different reasons. Like you wouldn't mess with the guy with the Mustang for very different reasons.
Well, he looks like he's got to get away. You know what I mean?
Right.
The other guy,
like, what's he hiding? Just don't look at his trunk. You didn't see nothing.
He's gonna hit me that thing and screw. You know what I mean? Like go fast. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
What's this? Look at these guys lighting it up now because of this. If Rich has a bat in his hands, you should never give up your phone.
Point.
It'll be tough to call for help if you need. Thanks,
Good
Ron.
point.
Ron, I've known many years. So listen, I want to make sure everybody checks out Matt's stuff. So we have a gift for Matt that we're gonna show it to him and all the audience in a few minutes. So don't go anywhere, man. You want to kind of catch, check out this little Bobby Lee worked very hard on this, and it's a Christmas present, and and you're gonna enjoy it. So I want everybody just to stick around for a few minutes and just relax, and then we're gonna wait for Sean Hailstone's answer. By the way, Sean, you got the encyclopedias open? Yeah. Okay, good. I don't know if he does.
That's
Sean. Yeah, that's the big question. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So, all right. So while we wait for Sean to figure out, the big answer, I'm sure he already knows it, but he's probably typing it. It's probably like twice. Listen, Bobby Lee, if he has to send it through Google Docs, that's fine. Just get what you got to get. It's probably a whole encyclopedia. Anyways, I love the input. No matter, I have everything open. There it is. Sean, you're awesome, bro. Appreciate that. So what I want to do, I want to get into you real quick because I could literally banter with you all day, and not to be punny, but I love the meaning of this word. I love the meaning of this word. It's my personality. It's so awesome. So that's why I grabbed it, but I could do it all day with you. You and I could sit in a room and we probably wouldn't even know what time it was when we left or got there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, which I love that. So tell me a little something before we get into your actual work, because I kind of want to keep it off of work a little bit. There is going to be some work, but I want you to loosen up, relax. Oh my God, nobody's
take off the tie that I never have worn a day in my life. Yeah,
but you know what I mean, though. You know what I'm saying, right? Because between the ears, it's like this. I don't want that here. So when I go and play softball with my friends, and I've always loved, one of the things I've always said to people is when I step on the field, I don't have bills, I don't have to be to work, I don't have this one or that one yelling and screaming or crying or whatever it might be. Yeah. Which, not just my kids. I'm talking about the other adults in my life is what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to be like, okay, nothing to do here. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. If the family gets restless and they want to come in, that's up to you. But I'm just saying, just chill and relax. So when you got into the paranormal world, right? All right. So was it through your work, or was it when you were a child growing up, or how did that happen?
No, yeah. So I guess my path started when I was a kid, and I would turn on the TV in my room and there would be paranormal TV shows. It wasn't like the Ghost Hunters hadn't aired yet. This was long before that. This was more in the vein of, I think there was a show on the History Channel where they had people tell their ghost stories and then they did reenactments of it. I can't remember the name of the show, but I would watch that. And during the day, it would be unbelievably fascinating to me. And then the minute it got dark and I'd be going to bed, it would be the most terrifying thing in the universe. Every little creak in my house, this is Massachusetts, and there's not a single house here that was built before 1700 or after 1700, I should say. And so my house was old, and every little creak as I'm trying to sleep was suddenly the most terrifying thing in the world. So I'd have to like sleep with music on, or actually this is a big part of the reason I got into radio, because I used to keep a little radio by my bedside and I'd put my headphones on and like scan the dial, partially because I was fascinated by it, but also because I was a little scared of ghosts. And, I guess anytime in my life I've been absolutely terrified of something, I need to completely drown myself in information about it. So I started reading more about it. I was also raised Christian. I went to the church, and I got confirmed and everything, very active in my high school youth group. But the more I started researching the paranormal, the more the more questions kind of mounted, because, and this is not me sitting here trying to like knock Christianity in any way, but just to say, like, who are we to say that this is the correct answer to what's going on in the universe and why we're here, when there are people in other parts of the world who have been raised on a completely different ancient book, and the only reason they follow that is because that's how they were raised. And so, so I'm like, what's the real answer? It's got to be somewhere in between all of these things. Like, people have these profound experiences with spirituality or with just, any sort of paranormal activity that completely shape the way that they see the world, and how, and again, back to why we're here and what happens after we die. I think at the root of, especially when it comes to ghost hunting, not the entire world of paranormal, but in the world of ghost hunting especially, most people just kind of want to get to the bottom of what happens when we die, or at least find some comfort in the idea that our conscious selves exists beyond our physical bodies, right? So that was another big part of it for me. So late in high school, my friends and I started ghost hunting, which when you start doing your amateur ghost hunting, that's basically just trespassing with flashlights. That's what it is. Maybe also a little handheld recorder eventually, and you start building up your gear to the point where, okay, now we need to ask permission to be on this property. But yes, in all that time that I did the trespassing and all that, I mean, I would have these crazy little experiences. I'm not the kind of person who's super sensitive to the other side. I wouldn't consider myself psychic or intuitive. But in a way, I think it's good to have people like that when you go out to an investigation, if you can call trespassing like that an investigation, because, you need people who can kind of keep it grounded, because I definitely have friends who consider themselves sensitive and intuitive, and they'd tell me, oh my gosh, I'm getting a really strong feeling over here. We got to go over here. And if I'm just not feeling that, it can kind of be good to maybe debunk a little bit about that, a little bit of that. And because what I'm left with, is stuff that I can't explain. And that's really fascinating to me. And I will say, around the same time too, that I'm getting into all of this, is when Ghost Hunters finally came on TV. And I was such a huge super fan of Jason and Grant from Taps. And like, this is one of those things that Annika and I were bonding over on the way down to investigate with you, as we both love that show. I went to a meet and greet with them, got their autograph and everything. I just thought they were so cool, because it was the first time that I had seen people on TV who set out to debunk ghost claims, because then what they're left with is stuff that cannot be explained, and that's extremely creepy. And they never say definitively, this is a ghost, this is a haunting. They say, this is something we can't explain. You draw your own conclusions. And from a scientific perspective, I mean, that just kind of blew my mind, that you can have this like level-headed approach to it, and you didn't have to sound like, for lack of better terms, crazy when you tell people you're into ghosts. You can say, I'm fascinated by paranormal because there's phenomenon in the world that we can't explain, and I want to explore that. So
no,
that's how I got into it.
But I love the explanation, and I love bringing up taps because I remember I'm older than you, obviously, but I was already investigating and already in and out of cemeteries practicing. Did you ever go in and out of cemeteries at all?
Oh yeah, I had a very active one near me in Acton.
Oh, I had my niece's boyfriend, who's now her husband, but he got scratched right down his butt cheek, and we're in a prayer circle. Hand to God, we're in a prayer circle, and I always do a Michael Archangel on the way in and on the way out as a prayer circle for protection. And I was doing that, and he goes, "Yeah, real funny, Uncle Rich." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, grabbing my ass. And I said, "Dude, we're in the middle of a cemetery. There's no time for me to be Richie. You know what I mean? To be funny,
right.
What are you talking about?" So he insisted that was it. But then we got back to the house. We go to start reviewing evidence, and he's in the bathroom. My niece comes out and says, "Uncle Rich, I think something's wrong." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He just showed me, where he thought you grabbed him. And it was a scratch mark, I guess, from the small of his back right across his butt cheek down to his leg.
Wow.
So he was ripped right there in the cemetery. So that was pretty stunning. So, yeah, we did that. But, when we were doing that and taps came on, and you're right, because that's the way I do Bigfooting is I back it up. I always talk about being backwards. I'm debunking. I'm not going forward going, oh, this must lead to this, that leads to that leads to this. I'm not doing that. I'm going, oh, we're here. Let's work our way back here. And for some reason in my mind, that seems to work for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I was like this. This is what I was like, taps. Oh my God, they're freaking plumbers, of course.
But
what does that mean?
But like that's exactly like what makes them so exceptionally skilled at what they do, because they understand how pipes work and they understand how houses are built. So if somebody's like, oh, I get a weird feeling, they're like, oh yeah, that's because there's this copper wire that emits EMF, and that's causing you to feel like somebody's in the room with you. It's a side effect of that. I hear a tapping every all the time. Yeah, that's your heater turning on. Like things like that. Like they get that, and I loved that about them.
And they talked about it, actually. They talk about it at that when they did that, they would do that and then be like, oh, wait, I don't have an explanation for that. It has nothing to do with plumbing. Yeah. And that's what started getting them more and more interested in into looking into this stuff. And they did, I guess, a lot of old houses as well.
Yeah.
In this area, you know how it is.
The other thing I respected about them is that they never counted orbs as evidence.
Ever.
And and by the way, I will say occasionally I've had a weird experience and then I've looked at the picture and there has been an orb, and it's easy to write that off as just dust or a bug, and I understand, but like when there's like a consistent pattern, then sometimes it's something to look into. And I would never say, oh, this is a photo of a ghost, like that orb, that's paranormal, because again, it could just be dust. But when you see weird, interesting patterns start to show up over the course of several pictures, like I don't know. I was at the Old North Bridge in Concord, the famous battle site from the Revolutionary War, where don't fire until they fire at you, and then there was that big bloody battle. And for whatever reason, there were no orbs in any pictures except for the ones with my friend Pete, and there were always two of them right next to Pete. And again, I would never submit that to like a museum and say this is a ghost, but it's a really interesting and very bizarre pattern in a place that has had a very traumatic history.
Yeah, and that's funny with the orb thing, leading up to the scratch that I just told you about. Yeah. So we did the live investigation thing. So we'd get up, take a picture, look at it, see if we saw any anomalies or anything like that. In that particular one, there's a big orb which it emitted its own light. That's one way I like to tell. And it was lit up pretty good. And then I said, hey, let's do an EVP right here. And that's the EVP I talked about earlier when I was looking like Santa that told me to get out. Yeah. So one thing led to another because of an orb. So to me, whether that was something or not, it led me to that EVP 100%. So what happens now is I can connect those dots. Yeah. And I can go, well, 1 + 1, I got 2.
Absolutely.
somebody got scratched in the ass and we left is what happened. But
absolutely. When things kind of all add up like that. I mean, another example, and I'm going to refer to a lot of Revolutionary War battle sites here because that's a big, growing up in Acton, like we're right, near Concord, Lexington, Lincoln, all these famous places where these famous battles occurred. And so we would go to those places a lot. And there's one time we were at the Battle Road in Lincoln, which is where Paul Revere rode down. There's a specific spot there. You'll see a little marker for it called the Bloody Angle, which is where some of the colonists ambushed some of the British soldiers. A lot of them are dead and a lot of them were buried here. It just says on that plaque, it's pretty eerie. It says, near here are buried British soldiers that were ambushed in this battle. So, and people just walk over it all the time. They're just literally walking on the dead graves of these British soldiers.
Wow.
So,
wow. And where's that at?
It's in Lincoln, pretty close to the Concord line.
Oh yeah, that Lincoln Concord was hot spot, man.
Yeah.
For battles.
Anyways, yeah. So we had some weird experiences there. Got some interesting pictures here, heard some noises and things like that. And then at the end, we also did a similar thing. We didn't call it a prayer circle, but we all just kind of stood around and, this is what we would usually do. We would say, do not follow us. You got to stay here. We're not interested in anything beyond this.
That too. Yes.
Sometimes we'd burn sage, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Well, we forgot to do this that night. And that same night, 4 of our friends had weird, bizarre things happen in their homes, like banging sounds in their house, like feeling of being touched and shoved and like weird stuff, like 4 different friends who were there with us that night, all because we didn't tell whatever potential spirits to stay behind.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, that's a big thing for me. And, I'm going to have a guest on in a couple of weeks. I believe it's Doc Raven Photography. He goes around to different shows and big shout out, bro. But, he goes around the different places, haunted places, and takes photos of maybe like an old, hospital chair or he gets this cool black and white angle or adds some color to it or in real places and real footage, real camera pictures. And I said to him, I met him at one of this Matt Warner Productions up here in Rockland, Mass. I said to him, don't you protect yourself when you go in and out of these places? Because I know you're just taking a picture of that, but that don't matter.
Right.
The energy of a camera is a powerful thing in the paranormal world, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So frequencies and digital and all that stuff, you can attract some things you might not want to. And the girl that he was with, I don't know I didn't ask the relationship between the two of them, but they obviously go out together. And she's like, no, he doesn't. Because I said, you do it. She's like, no, he doesn't, but he has to. Tell him, because I was like, bro, like you have to. I'm going to have him on my show, actually. I've already invited him on and we're working out a date. But you got to see this guy's work. It's insane. But it's the same type of mentality no matter what. You don't have to go in there and go with your friends and Pete with the 2 orbs and all that. You can go in there. You can go in there and just take a picture with no intention of bothering anything except taking a picture. And you could go home with something.
Right.
It's not a joke. And that's
I agree. And, speaking of like inviting things that you may not want, I mean, one of the most profound experiences I've ever had with the paranormal was with a Ouija board. And
why are you doing that?
I know. Well, it was when I first started dating the woman who is now my wife. She knew I was into ghosts and stuff, and she got me a Ouija board for Christmas. And, she didn't really know that in the paranormal world that it's like a really scary thing. That people try to avoid them, but I was like, what? Why not? Let's try it. Let's see where it goes. I'm not a really sensitive person to this kind of thing, and we sat there, and she can attest to this. We had a lengthy conversation with someone. People are gonna think I'm crazy, here, but I swear to this, and she can attest to this. We had a lengthy conversation with someone who was identifying as Kyle. Said they were from Rutland, and that. What did they say? We asked several times and it kept what its name was, kept spelling Kyle, wouldn't tell us its last name. It just spelled Kyle again. Rutland. When we asked it how this character Kyle, how they passed away, it just quickly went to goodbye. Oh, and at one point I asked, I had a little old compass that belonged to my grandfather with me that I used to bring out on paranormal investigations. And I said, hey, I have this little compass here. Is my grandfather here? And it went to yes. And I said, could I talk to him? And then things kind of got a little like weird and, it wasn't really spelling out words. It was moving around a little, but not much. And then, so I said, okay, can I talk to Kyle again? And then immediately it became clear and it went back to spelling out actual words and giving very definitive answers. It was very strange.
Wow. Yeah. Those things are crazy like that. I did that as I was a kid once with my sisters. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how weird it was. But when I was young, I was like, what is going on? They were asking questions like it was answering them. And then as I got older and older and got more and more into the paranormal world, I I started to really have a respect for those things. To me,
yeah,
the energy between two people can open up anything as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
And everybody's energies are different. And like you said earlier, you brought up the fact that some people are sensitives and things like that.
Yeah.
I have a story I've shared on here a couple of times that when I was about 7 or 8 and maybe in between, I had a woman standing in my room, and
Wow.
who, 3 nights in a row, basically, she just kind of kept moving in, knew my name, rubbed my head, told me everything's going to be okay, the whole 9 yards.
What?
Oh, 100%. This is how I got into the paranormal world. And I kept running through her to my mother as fast as I could and trying to tell my mother that there was a woman in my room. And of course, at first it was like, okay, small child, go to bed,
Yeah.
and then you believe it. You're like, yeah, I must be having a dream,
Right.
And then finally, when she came walking towards me and basically sat on my bed and did this thing, told me, Richie, everything's going to be okay. I could still hear her voice. She knew my name. It was Richard. She called me, not Richie. I just comfortable with that.
Right.
But she knew my name, and I told my mom she knew my name. Blah blah. She said, what did she look like? So I told her she was dressed in a black like jacket, but with a like a skirt on, and she had these ruffly things here and a pin right here and a bun in her head, and she was really short, Mama. She was really short, like almost like me, Mama. And then she limped. She had a limp too. And my mother went white as a ghost and ran for the phone because my parents were divorced at the time.
Yeah.
And the funny part of the story is I think I just told this. So she runs to and starts dialing my father. And as a kid, you're like, yeah, let's tell Dad. I'm like, what are we telling Dad, right? And then she takes the rotary phone. And you're like,
Sure, yeah.
Nowadays, you just push a button and
I know.
You're
Right.
telling Dad the story.
You don't even have to push a button. You're just like, yeah, Siri, call this person. Yeah.
Right? So my father gets on the phone and says, you ain't going to believe what happened. Richie just explained your mother to a T, right down to what she was wearing and her limp and what she was buried in.
Oh my God.
And I'll never forget those words. I stood there in awe of this, but my mother just said to my father, my grandmother died when my father was 13. And I never had pictures of my grandmother or anything like that. There was a picture of her younger as a child, like, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. I don't know. But anyways, I've always had a connection with her ever since. So that was my first experience with the paranormal world, but I did not know that until as I got older, I started looking back going, I got to find out, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And then I later on found out that I am a sensitive in that sense. I've gone to mediumship classes. I've done that route before.
Right.
My children come to me with things and I'm like, oh, they got it too. And it's weird how it can be passed on like that. You know what I mean? So we've had that forever and ever, for my whole life. But it's crazy, man. And then I got a picture with my grandmother, and she had a pin on the brooch that I said. She was wearing a pin with ruffles, and I have a picture of her now with that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think cool. There's something to, that first of all, unbelievable. And the fact that you got some sort of like validation from that, or like wild. Like, I think there's something to that state that you get in sort of between awake and sleep, where like you're totally loose and like, there's all this energy around you and you're not thinking like the way you would in a lot. I hate to use the term logical, but like, you're not thinking like, let me cut to the chase here, because I also had a similar experience once while lying in bed. Now, nothing nearly as profound as that, but when my wife and I were once dog sitting for my parents at our house, my mom has long said that she's had weird paranormal experiences in the house. I never really did in the house I grew up in, but when we were dog sitting, we were sleeping in the room that she normally sleeps in. And my wife and I both woke up at the same time. It was like 4:44 at night, which I know a lot of people say is like a time, right? And
what did you just say?
Did
you just say 444, bro?
Yes, 4:44.
Come on.
To the sound of a woman talking in the room. We couldn't really make out what the woman was saying because it was kind of like muffled, but it was absolutely in the room. It was a really gentle voice, really kind of calming, very much like this, blah, 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 blah. And we both woke up, we both heard it, and then we both kind of were like, probably nothing. Went back to sleep. But the next morning we talked about it. We're like, did you hear that in the night? And she was like, yeah, I heard it. Looked at the clock, 4:44. It was weird. And I'm like, okay, moved on.
That's insane. And the fact that you're both comfortable like that to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll tell you in a minute, Sean.
But again, it was like the tone of the voice was so calming that like we weren't like freaked out for whatever reason. Like, and maybe it was whoever it was or whatever it was trying to pass on like a calming energy to us while it worked. Or maybe if, for all we know, it was just somebody walking by outside yip yapping. But to us both, it sounded very much like it was in the room.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And that's the I've been in that state before, the REM state. And my REM state usually consists of kind of chaos, kind of black and gray, real fast. I've been in situations where I was in a house and I was falling asleep. I was in the REM. My baby boy Maddox was next to me. He was little in his diapers and stuff. And we just kind of, he was off on his side. I was just kind of laying here and I was kind of in and out. And I remember literally like rolling over on my stomach, like that. I'm a stomach sleeper. And all of a sudden I felt fingers on the back of my calf muscle.
Oh my God.
I went to go like this and I couldn't move fully. I was like kind of stuck. And I had to snap myself out of REM. And then when I got loose, man, that dude was in for trouble. I got out the sage. I started ripping off the Michael the Archangel prayer. And I started telling, back up, my son's here, blah, blah. I went off. It was like a 10-minute rant of get out of my house and blocking windows with sage.
Good
I wasn't. Yeah, that was weird. So the REM for me is real crazy. So,
yeah, I mean, I've sleep paralysis too. Like once or twice a year, I have like a weird moment of sleep paralysis, but I would never call that like paranormal. It's just a thing that happens.
A lot of people believe it is though, but do you remember it clearly?
Yeah, I mean, I remember clearly laying in bed being like, oh my God, I can't move. And it usually comes after a nightmare. Like I have like a scary dream of some sort. And then like, I want to tell myself like, oh, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. I want to roll over or something, have a sip of water, but I can't. I'm just like stuck there,
Scared. Yes.
Whatever's happening in the dream is like somebody in the room there and I need to get away and I can't because I'm stuck. It's weird.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And sleep paralysis is a scary thing. My daughter goes through it all the time. She talks to me about it constantly. Man. Now she has been contacted by she was in a mediumship as well. So, but she talks to me about the sleep paralysis as well. And it's I've had it plenty of times. It's just pretty freaky. I feel that way when my back is junk. Hailstone. He's on fire tonight. So, so real quick. So what I want to do here, and then we're going to present you with your gift. Okay.
Okay.
I had another surprise for you, but I just got word that the storms have knocked power and everything out at his house. So I can't have our friend and be reunited with Dave McCullough tonight that I had.
No. Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
I love Dave.
So, yeah, Dave's an absolute awesome dude. And I was going to bring him on to say hi to you. He was so stoked to do it. And I was just looking, my phone was up next to me so I could see it while we're talking. And he's like, I got no power still from the storm. So I was like, dude, stay safe, man. So he says hello. I want you to know that. And real quick, hey, Bobby Lee, can we bring up that other ticker for Trevor for his site for his network tomorrow or his podcast tomorrow? Yeah, there it is. Check it out, everybody. There's a ticker going across the bottom. I want you guys to check it out on the Get Haunted platform. Okay. Watch We the Haunted. All right. And it's on the Get Haunted platform. Look up We the Haunted tomorrow night, 9:00. All right. So make sure you check that out. Really good, scary, spooky stuff and paranormal stuff. The other one is my friend here, Sam's Pretty Paranormal. She's got some cool stuff, man, on her site too. I totally dig. And I thought that she was doing podcasts, but she records and makes cool stuff. And it's like, I was like, no way, really? Because I was so like drawn into it. You know what I mean? I love that creative artsy side. Like you have it. I'm finding out that I actually have it. You know what I mean? Like Bobby Lee has it. A lot of people have it, but you got to sometimes crack down the walls and pull it out, and I love seeing the people that are so free with it, like yourself. And it's helping me kind of blossom, Let's go over the Icelandic answer. Do you want to do that?
Sure. Yes.
Do you remember the answer? Yeah.
We need closure.
Would you like to narrate or me? Bobby,
I'll do it.
Oh, you're going to narrate? Matt's going to narrate. Go ahead.
Icelandic sagas and stories often involve real people and events, and so can help us understand why Iceland is called Iceland. One of these people, called Floki, is that? Well, I'm going with Floki because it's sick. Came to Iceland, which was at the time called Garðarsólmur, or Garrowar's Isle. After being called Snowland. He wasn't the first to find Iceland, but it was still in the very early days. He had a really horrid time. His daughter drowned on the way. Then all his livestock starved to death during the long, harsh winter months.
Good Lord, Sean. All right, listen.
Damn. Did AI write that? I don't know. I mean, it's
dude, it's pretty close to Matt Shearer's work right there. Listen, Sean, I love your hard work and I respect your knowledge, but no more of that shit before Christmas, okay? You save that for like after the New Year. Oh my God, that was morbid.
Wild.
Are you okay? Everybody okay? Wow, I don't think I'll ever recover from that. So check this out. No. Sean goes, there's more. Yeah,
I did see a ... there.
Yeah, like a couple thousand years more. I'm good. All right, so listen. So here's the question Sean has, if I may indulge in this before we get to your gift. So what's with 444? Okay. So some of this is kind of, sad, and then it brings me to happiness. So I just recently started being introduced in my mind's eye and all that spiritual stuff we're talking about to numbers, the numerology, the angel numbers, things like that, right? Yep. So, yes, we're gonna have the EVP shit. You want to do that before or after his gift, Bobby Lee? It's up to you. I don't care, she says, Matt. So either way, she says. So we'll wait. When I'm done with this story, we'll ask Matt what he wants, and then maybe we'll rock paper scissors for whatever order. All right?
Deal.
You good? All right. So what's with 444? So my son was stillborn. I shared that with many times, and I always will every day. He's always in our thoughts every day. He's part of my family. So before that happened, thank you, bro. Before that happened, I was seeing the number 666 everywhere. So 666 is not the devil number, and I tried telling everybody that it's the number of change, and I know that, and it was the weirdest things. You turn right, you're like, oh, whoa. You get a Keno slip, and the last three numbers on the bottom of that. You're like, oh my God, like it's just started license plates, of course, right? Receipts, all these messages coming up. So I was like, I started putting together this. I started getting, you need some water or something? We got time. You can just take a sip. There you go.
Yeah, sorry. I don't have a cough button in here. In radio, we normally literally have a button that says cough in front of you, and you push it. No, I'm dead serious. Look up cough button radio station later. It's a thing. And
that's cheating, bro.
I know.
That's cheating, bro.
Go ahead.
So I kept seeing this number everywhere. So long story short, I started getting this feeling like something was going to happen to baby Jack. And I kept saying, don't do that. Don't do that. So long story short, obviously we all know now something did happen to baby Jack. I did share that story with somebody else prior, but I didn't, you don't really, how do you talk to your spouse about that? You know what I mean? So that was devastating. That's what got me back into the mediumship, because I needed to know why I was given these messages. Why did I know this? You know what I mean? So now come to this, I start living free, right? Now I'm still mourning, obviously, every day. Like I said, we just cried tonight. It's just part of life now. But I got that sense of I'm going to get up and I'm going to live with inspiration. I'm going to live with passion. I'm going to do what I want to do. My family's all on board. I have an amazing woman behind me, next to me, beside me, in front of me, hugging me, whatever. She's part of me. She's my person and encourages me to do the things I love. So here I am doing my show now that I've always wanted to do. And before it's starting up, you get in those moments. Maybe not. Yeah, I probably shouldn't. And these are the reasons why I shouldn't. And then you're like, oh, today's a different day. I'm going to do it, blah, 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 right? So I started having this inner war with myself, okay? And all of a sudden I started seeing randomly the number 444. Now I have a friend of mine, God rest his soul, Matt Quigley, and his number was 44 in softball, right? So, obviously I always love seeing that number. And because I'm like talking to Matt. So now I'm talking to Matt. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, bro? You know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to get at? And then I realized it wasn't necessarily how over you're going. You have all those other people to talk to. What you want from me? It didn't jive in that sense, right? So I looked it up. And the number 444 that I keep seeing, that I brought up to Bobby Lee, she keeps seeing, we keep seeing, talks about following your passions and living the way you've always wanted to live and doing the things you've always wanted to do and accomplishing the things you've always wanted to accomplish, and that they're about to come to fruition. And this was And now you just said that, and I just almost fell over because tonight when I'm upstairs, I was talking to my fiance and dinner was coming or whatever. And I looked over and I said something and I was like, everybody's kind of getting a little high strung because it's, showtime. It's show night. Show nights at the house are like, wee, and I looked over and I was like, oh, and I just caught the clock. I go 444.
Wow.
Just brought everything back down. So it happens in the random spot. She'll text me like, oh, look, I just happened to look at my phone. So it's like a thing between us.
Yeah.
And then you just came on and said that of all the times that you could have been woken up.
Yeah.
You just yelled my number at me is what you did.
And did you get the chills when I said that?
I yelled over you when you were talking like an ignorant host. I was like, what did he just say?
That's great though.
Learn to be it's amazing stuff. That's the vibe I'm talking about, bro.
Yeah.
When we talk, we did this the other day about talking about being on my show.
Yeah.
Half hour went by. I didn't realize it's the vibe. It's just
100%.
Or you don't. So
yeah.
You got your rock, paper, scissors hand ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So if you win, what would you like first?
Gift. Give me a present.
All right, gift. All right. And so if I win, it's EVP first.
Deal.
Deal?
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Shoot. I got you.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I knew you were going to do that.
There's like a delay here.
There is, but
this is like when I play with my 3-year-old. She'll wait to see what I do and then she'll act accordingly. Or sometimes I'll be like, I did scissors, and she'll be like, I did shoot.
And you gotta lose. Just don't even bother. All right, ready?
Yeah.
With her, I mean. Are you ready?
Yeah, of course. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Dude, we're trying. You know what? We're on the same wavelength here. All right, next one wins.
I have a secret about this I should have shared with you.
What's that?
I tap into people and I shouldn't. It's cheating.
But then why didn't you tap in and win? You tapped into tie. That just shows that you're like the nicest guy in the universe. You have the power to know what I'm gonna do, and you still choose not to beat me. Incredible.
It's an ongoing joke in the house that it's not fair to play rock, paper, scissors with me because I've done it like 8-9 times in a row. Like I'm just showing off. All right, ready? All right, ready? Let's go. All right, eyes closed. You ready?
Yep.
All right, last time.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Where are we?
Woo! I win.
Yes.
Let's
go. All right, everybody. Listen, this is a cool gift that Bobby Lee put together for you, my man. I hope you enjoy it. This is yours to take. You can have it in your archives, wherever you want to do with it. All right?
Awesome.
Bobby Lee, if you want to pop in, it's all rest is up to you. Whatever you want to do. There she is.
All right, you ready for this?
I can't wait. You've been hyping this up for days now, so
I know, which is terrible because if you don't react appropriately, I'm gonna be brokenhearted. So,
all right.
With no further ado, here is a video that I made for you.
In life, we're just meant.
Meet Matt Shearer, a man whose life revolves around the stories of Boston, filled with adventure and passion. Matt Shearer is many things. A musician.
Know who I want to take me home.
This is our last
Where
video.
are you? Yeah. It's Mortal Kombat. Teenage dirtbag baby.
A gamer.
I love it.
An entrepreneur.
How many heads do you think I could get for this?
Is this? You can have 2 hits.
I brought it so that we can talk at a moderate volume and still have a conversation at a loud volume.
A competitive eater.
Wait, you're already done with the first one? I'm like 3 bites into this thing.
A self-proclaimed biker.
I joined a bike gang.
A model. A pirate. We think he might be the Squatch of Squatchachusetts.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And some might call him a New Yorker.
Number 3, don't be a know-it-all. That's just for New Yorkers.
The problem with your question is you call it the town of Newton. I'm pretty sure it's a city. I'm pretty sure they have a mayor.
But I think Boston loves him most for being a friend. His passion and his ability to win the hearts and minds of what many would call massholes across the state brings smiles to the folks commonly known for their sense of community, their pride, and their resilience.
I'm addicted.
Thank you, Matt, for changing the lives of so many, both those that you interact with and those that follow you. We're addicted to you and the lives you change.
Try to take the wind out of your sails in life. We're just meant to persevere.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
That's Bobby Lee right there.
I don't even know where to begin. Just, oh my gosh, the work that went into that. Like, believe me, I edit videos and audio for a living, and like, oh my gosh, I know how much goes into it. The fact that you pulled all those clips together, meant that you would have had to sit there and watch lots and lots of video. And wow, you deserve
and screen record because
yeah, you deserve compensation for that. But incredible, thank you. Wow, that's extremely flattering, and I love it. It's nice to see things like that and just realize, because you know what I do, as you know, is a lot of work, like I just mentioned, and to know that it's touching people like you guys. You like you know, you appreciate it. That means the world. So thank you.
So appreciate it, man. It was amazing when I come up and I said, listen, this is kind of what I want to do for Matt. And then she was like, all you can do is say, yeah, awesome job. All you can do is say one thing to her, and she's just like, oh, I got this. And then it was like, oh yeah, and then she's gone. You can't get a hold of her.
Yeah.
It's like when I try to text you or call you, man. It's weird. Same thing. You guys go down to this edit basement.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
No,
like,
I can.
Hello, nothing. You know, but I get it. Ton of work, dude.
No, dude, totally. And it's like, especially, yeah, like when I'm in the middle of interviews, you know, it's not like I can really, it takes me a few hours to get back to people sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes a couple days.
Oh, please stop. I don't even have the excuses you guys do, and I'm like that sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, sorry, I didn't see the 30 messages. You know what I mean? It's and you guys work so hard. Like, I didn't even understand half of it until I saw what she was doing. She's like,
Bobby Lee. Yeah, that was amazing. Well done. I love it.
Another round of applause.
Thank you. So one of the cool things I did about this, because I also do music on the side, is I reached out to Arabi to see if I could use her song for the video, and I haven't heard back from her, probably because I did it the day after it came out, and you know it was huge. But I offered
messages that day.
Yeah, I offered in exchange for her music to be used on that video, I'd pay for her to get her song licensed on all the major platforms and stuff. So I have an account. So if she ever reaches out to me, that's going to be her compensation.
That's incredible. I'll tell her. Yeah. She can be a little difficult to get in touch with, mainly because, you know, one of the first things she did with the money she made off of that song was go out and buy a phone. However, phones, when you buy phones nowadays, do not come with chargers anymore.
Yes.
So it's they maybe will come with a USB cable, but not the brick to plug it into the wall. So it's been a recurring thing these past few days. Her phone has been dying, but she's made like I said in the video, thousands of dollars now off of that song. So I think she and I will take a trip to Target tomorrow morning. We're actually gonna, if you're in the Boston area, we're gonna be on WBZ TV, so channel 4. In the morning doing a live interview. It'll be her first live television debut. So you can check that out around 9:00 tomorrow morning. And then I'll take her to Target and we'll get a phone charger.
Yeah. I love it. That's unbelievable. Now, to ask the question, I mean, I saw the story and everything, but I always like this. I kind of reiterate or something. When you saw her, you were just doing one of your stories that you normally do?
Yeah, so I guess I should explain real quick for anyone watching.
If you don't mind.
Video. No problem. Yeah. The quick rundown is I was walking through Downtown Crossing in Boston, happened to hear an amazing singer, sat down and talked to her. She wasn't asking for money or anything. She was just singing for the sake of singing. Found out she'd been through some really tough times in her life and she was living in the streets. And but she had these big dreams. She wrote a song that's deeply personal to her and she just wanted to get into a studio to record it. So I started pulling some strings, made some calls, and got not only some studio time for her, but also an engineer who was willing to volunteer his time named Bernherm to record it for her, a producer named Gasoline Monk who could make all the music for her. And just, we worked together for about a week to make her dream a reality. And then Duncan heard her story and we're so moved by it. And we're like, how can we help? And I said, can you fly her daughter up to Boston from Florida? She hasn't seen her daughter in 2 years. And she said she told me she was crying because she wasn't going to see her daughter on her birthday or Christmas. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. So we set Ara up to sing with the Boston Pops at Logan Airport, and mid-song, her daughter, Jara, showed up, and both were moved to tears. And they got to have a great night out on the town. Duncan put them up in a really nice hotel, and it was just a really unbelievably rewarding experience for myself to be able to help coordinate that, for Ara to have spent so long and, struggled so much in life to have this wonderful weekend, and for her daughter who dearly missed her mom to be able to reunite. It was just such a great way to spend the holiday. So that's Ara.
That's amazing, man. That's just so amazing, man. I'm going to share another piece of me. And this is why these stories here just gut punch me. And I don't want to make it about me, but it's like when you live experiences and you hear these stories, man, they just reign so true, Yeah. And I know exactly to hear that she was on the streets at 14 years old. I was homeless.
Wow.
And at 14, and I have children that are 14, and to even think of it is crazy. And I was a full-blown alcoholic by the time I was 15 to 16, and I got sober when I was 26 in 1997.
Wow.
Yeah, and to hear her story and to know her pain and understand that that all these things go in your head because you got nothing else to do, man.
Yeah.
Except, where am I going to sleep tonight? What friend am I going to ask,
Sure. And sometimes having a dream like that is the only thing that will keep you going. Like the kind of hope that something wonderful is going to happen in the future. And for Ara,
it's amazing.
I don't make a ton of money doing this job, so I couldn't really help her too much financially, but I was like, maybe I can see if anyone else would be willing to donate a little bit of time and help make your dream come true. And amazingly, people stepped up and they did. So I love it.
I think it's amazing. Bobby, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to pop in. And since we're talking about the stories and eliciting that emotion, working in music and writing music is something that I love to do. And when the inspiration behind that and being able to share that with her was incredible. When I go through certain tragedies, one of the things I lost a fiance back in the day, a few years back, and I wrote a song about it, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And it's about addiction. It's called Heroin. And so when she had that song about being addicted to this toxic relationship, it just hit me. It hit me really, really hard. And so what could I do but try and do as much justice as possible to it?
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I want to hear that song first of all. And
right.
Also, it's just like the thing with especially addiction is just like it can happen to anybody. And when I first found Ara, I was looking her up online and I found traces of a music career that she attempted in her past, and also all these amazing videos and photos of her and her family, her and her kid, and doing stuff that families do, just like dancing in the kitchen. And, 1 minute she's like making lunch for her kid and sending her off to school. And then a series of unfortunate events happen. And next thing you know, she's in the street. And, it's a reminder that it can happen to anyone, and not to discriminate. Addiction in particular is a disease that happens for a whole variety of reasons outside of just making bad decisions. And even if it is just making bad decisions, people don't deserve to be judged for that years down the line. Everyone deserves a chance to redeem themselves.
I could have said it better myself. Absolutely. And I'm very fortunate I got that chance, because as many nights I should have been dead. Plain and simple. There's no way of cutting that up and making it look pretty. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
I was given the gift of 6 beautiful children that wouldn't be here if I followed suit. You know what I mean? And did what my disease wanted me to do. And many people that I know that I've touched in my life that wouldn't have that. And that's why when you save somebody, it's like that. They save somebody. They say somebody. They say somebody.
Yeah.
It spreads the right word to the to right areas, and you did to us.
I find that all the time. Some of the most generous people are the people who have been through the worst times. Like the people who have been at the bottom are the ones who want to give the most. It just happened today. I interviewed a guy. I had no idea about his backstory before I showed up, but he started telling me about how he struggled with addiction and spent a lot of time in jail. And what he was doing was organizing like care kits for the homeless and like delivering them and like providing a service for his community. And I witnessed it even too with Ara. You know, the first stack of cash I handed her that her song had earned, she wanted to just like hand it out to people that she saw in need.
Yes.
And it's just like,
yes,
it was incredible. And now,
Yes.
you know, knowing what you went through, Richie, I had no idea until you told me, but it makes sense because you're a really charitable, caring person too. So
it's crazy, isn't it? Thank you for that. No, thank you for that. And it's like that. And I do a lot of things. I try to do as much. And the main thing that I do is try to teach my kids to do that. Because if you could tell the next generation to do it, you've done more service than you could possibly do in your life. You're
1,000%.
Again, you're gonna spread it. You know what I mean? That's what we need.
I've always said the best way to change not just your community, but the world is to be a positive influence on a young person's life and to help. I don't want to say guide them, but maybe even, you know, not even necessarily mentoring, but just be a positive influence, be encouraging. Cause like, you know, so many of the problems that people go through in life are rooted in problems in their childhood. And they just need somebody in their life to be encouraging and like, you know, tell them you got this, you know? And so I spent a little bit of time volunteering at a youth program in Boston, helping mentor kids to do their own radio shows. I'll shout out the organization because it's amazing. It's called
go.
Zoomix in East Boston. It's an amazing place where kids can go after school, learn to play an instrument, start a band, learn how to produce music, whatever. And they also have a little radio station there. So I used to help kids do radio shows, you know, and just like, you know, encourage them to use their voice and speak like we're doing right now. You never know how much that could change just to let them know that like their voice is important and people want to hear it.
Yeah, no, it's the best. It's all about the foundation, man.
Yeah.
And I say it to my kids all the time. I'm putting bricks in if they do something wrong that steers them off course. I'm over here putting bricks in the foundation and making it nice and solid. You just kicked one out like you didn't want it there. Well, guess what? When you get bigger, you're going to fall over it because you're missing a part of your foundation. And that's why I try.
It's a good metaphor. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Just to try because when they're young like that, they're so influenced, easily influenced that if you say the wrong thing, they're going that way. If you try to get it right, man. We're not all perfect. But anyways, it's Christmas time.
Yes.
And you were the perfect guest for this. And you do the perfect things that I've seen as I've gone down that list on X, just to be nice, and go down that list. And it's a perfect mix of fun, perfect mix of serious, perfect mix of love and care. And it's such a good balance that one thing we all are missing is balance. We all know that. I mean, we're just running through the rat race every day, right? So I thought for Christmas, man, what a perfect guest to have. What a perfect opportunity to say, hey, man, you know, sometimes it's just about love, you know, and we're going to talk about ghosts. I'm going to pull up the EVP because we're going to live to my part of the deal.
Yeah.
I lost at rock, paper, scissors, but I'm still going to get my damn share. But if you're out there and you're listening, man, it's the holidays, it's Christmas time. Do the right thing, man. You know, the things I do behind the scenes here a lot that I'm not going to talk about here, but a lot of people that are out there, my friends know, do that. Do one thing if you can possibly do it. Do one thing. And if 10 people do it, we've now done 10 things.
Yes.
It's
amazing. Like it
simple.
Really does not take much to change so much for so many people and to influence people.
It's amazing because I had the littlest thing happen to me. And that's what my whole life just absolutely changed. And miracles stepped in, spirituality stepped in, sobriety stepped in, and boom, I was off and running. You know what I mean? And the best part about it was I got to be immature all the way through it. It was awesome. So when you had to be serious, you had to be serious. But I like to have fun no matter what situation I am in. And I'm gifted in that sense. But kick-ass job by you, human being, and kick-ass job by you and their human being, Bobby Lee. And I love it. I think it's a great Christmas story, a great Christmas show. But now what we're going to do, we're going to roll right back into this EVP that you got. And where did you get this EVP?
Yeah, so one of the great things about having this for a job is I can kind of use it as an excuse to go visit all these paranormal hotspots that I've always wanted to visit. I can say, oh, well, it's October. We need Halloween stories. How about I go check out this haunted spot? So I've been to the Conjuring House. I've been to haunted restaurants, allegedly haunted restaurants. I've been Bigfoot hunting in the Bridgewater Triangle with you. I went up to the Exeter in New Hampshire UFO Festival. That's actually where I met Dave McCullough, who brought me along on the Bigfoot hunt. But this EVP came from the USS Salem, which is a former warship that is docked in Quincy, Massachusetts. It's out of commission, and now pretty much it exists just for ghost tours. If you book it, I'm blanking on the guy's name who books it. You know him, Richie.
Dawn.
Yes, Dawn. He's great. He's amazing. He'll take you around, tell you ghost stories, and you may actually hear some things. And it was so funny because when I pulled up that day, we go inside and like the power isn't working on the ship. So there's like no lights whatsoever. Right. Which he's like, are you okay with going in? There's no lights. I'm like, yeah, honestly, that's better. Let's do that. At the time, I had not started doing all these videos for social media. So this was strictly an audio piece that I had made for the radio. But mid-conversation, I'll give the context and then we'll hear the clip. Mid-interview, we both kind of stopped talking and looked behind us because we heard a sound coming from the hallway. Sounded almost like a footstep or something. You'll hear us react to it in this clip. And Dave and Don said something like, are you there? So do you want to come out and say hi? And we didn't hear anything. So we just kind of moved on with our conversation. When I went back and listened to the audio after he said, do you want to come say hi? Or whatever it is he said, I heard very clearly to me, maybe we should play the clip and then I'll say what I heard and other people can draw their own conclusion.
Sounds good. Bobby Lee, you got that up? You want me to pull it? Oh, it's right here.
So we're going with the amplified clip first. Okay.
Oh, do we have the raw one?
That's fine if we want to do amplified.
So Eva Nagy, who owns the obelisk, said, "What are your intentions?"
Something's going crazy.
Hello. Do you want to come in and talk to us? I can hear you walking around out there, and he's there.
So you may have had to turn your speakers up way, way loud to be able to hear it. But what I heard when I listened to the audio, and I was floored by this, was after he said, do you want to come out and talk to us? I heard what sounded like a male voice going,
I thought that was one of you. I heard that. Hang on.
No, that was neither of us.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Well, that's how clear it is. Yeah. Are you playing it, Bobby? Where'd you go? Yeah, you got it. Oh, thank you. I get to play with stuff. Yee. Give me a timestamp when you see it too. Is it playing? I can't hear it. Did I break it? Bobby, is that playing?
It's coming back.
Oh. Yeah, it's not just me. It went out. You can't hear it. You can't hear it, right?
No, I can't hear it or see it right now. But that's okay. I mean, I told the story. It's just, it freaked me out because, in all my years of doing that trespassing and ghost hunting, never really caught anything that I think was as clear as that. Certainly never caught any EVPs.
Yeah, because I heard in the beginning, I thought it was him. I thought it was one of you guys. I got to hear that again now. Now I'm driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So Dawn, I met on. Let me remove that from the stage. I met him at a historical society. I was a guest speaker there, and he's an interesting fella. He was sitting in the front row, or he's sitting in the second or third row, and he kind of get up and made his way to the front in a I'm going to sit here kind of way, politely, like he wanted to get up front,
Sure, yeah.
And we got done, and when I got done talking, and I mean, people are usually pretty receptive to me. I'm kind of candid. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So when you're a kind of candid person, people will come up to you. And he came up to me, and I remember after I was talking to everybody else, you could see him coming through the crowd kind of, and he's got that limp in his cane, you know what I mean? And he's kind of coming through, and you're like, oh, this guy looks serious, you know what I mean? And lo and behold, he has something to do with the paranormal world. It's like the perfect fit. And then we were talking about the USS Salem, and the way he talks about the USS Salem is with such passion. Like he's known it his whole life.
Oh, yeah.
And he loves and protects the thing. Like really? Did you find that with him?
Oh yeah, he has like friendships almost with some of the entities on the board that he believes are on there. Like I don't know how to describe it, but certain ones that he feels like he's interacted with multiple times in similar ways, in similar spaces, he can feel it. I believe he would consider himself sensitive too, and he can tell based on the energy whether it's a friendly spirit or a not so friendly spirit. And yeah, I mean, it's like a second home to him on that ship. He's like,
yeah. Oh, so you got it going. Hang on. I'm going to hit play. Nope. Went dead again.
Even A, who owns the obelisk, said, what are your intentions?
Something's going crazy.
Hello? Do you want to come in and talk to us? I can hear you walking around out there. And he's there. I can feel something.
Yeah. So
was
nothing.
that the high? Was that the high pitch?
It was like like that.
That's crazy, dude. When they get like that, he's close to you guys.
He could be. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're being that quiet and getting picked up, I mean, digital recorders are pretty powerful things. Don't get me wrong, and they have different grades of them. You would know more than I.
I mean, yeah, I will say I was using a digital recorder, which I since have decided is trash. Basically, it's made by this company Tascam, and they make affordable entry point audio equipment. And you know, the preamps on the recorder are not that great. So when I had to boost the gain in order to hear everything, you get a lot of hiss. You may have heard some of that hiss in there.
Yeah.
I've since switched to a different recorder. There's a company Zoom, different from the meeting Zoom, the coronavirus Zoom. There's a company that makes really good handheld recorders, and you know, it sounds much better. I wish I had that day, but it's fine because hey, the Tascam did pick up a potential EVP, and so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think whenever you hear something like that where it's more controlled, you know what I mean, and it's sometimes like that too, though. You gotta get what they call residual. You're familiar with the difference, obviously. You've done some investigating, so you know the difference. So I think a lot of sometimes when you hear that almost like a hum, especially on a ship, I've heard this a lot. Like they kind of just walk around like,
right,
because they got chores or duties to take care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which makes sense. Although, I mean, the one thing that would make me think it's maybe not a residual haunting is the fact that it timed perfectly with when we were interacting with it.
Correct.
With the question. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's just a really fascinating clip to listen to.
Yeah, no, I thought it was cool. And I've had other ones besides that you can, you could barely make out. And I've talked about this a lot because I deal with a lot when I'm out Bigfoot research. So my Bigfoot research is just like paranormal research to me. I handle them the same way, scientific manner. I try to go about it a certain way. My buddy Wojo was out with us. Stevie, you see him up there on the questions. Name's Steven. He was out with us, and he can even see that I kind of work in a scientific manner, and you kind of have to. And one of the things I learned, Walter Burke would know. Walter Burke and his sister used recorders to try to gather Bigfoot evidence. Which is really cool.
That's great.
That's when we went out. We went out there last weekend to this place up by Western Mass, and it was awesome. And we went out there, and they usually have recordings. They were on my show, my number 2 show before you, and they had recordings. That's one of their methods. That's what they did. So I was like, oh, I got to have them on the show and discuss it. And they had some really cool evidence of things that are kind of unexplainable. So I wanted to put some context to the sounds, Whereas visually, you don't. I mean, you do need context, but it's probably less than if it was obviously a recorder. So I'm like, I want to get out there because you're going to hear, oh, it's kids in the woods or this or that. Well, like you heard in my intro, I'm 2 miles in off. I'm way out in the middle of freaking nowhere. Ain't nobody out there, dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so recorders can be. You bring a bat up. Hang on, sorry.
It's true.
Like, come on, guys. yeah, so that was amazing. And when we went out there, and the recorders are a great way for evidence. Now, I was watching something today, Alec Petikoff's stuff with Small Town Monsters and Beyond the Trail. They do some amazing stuff. And out on the West Coast, they had found some what they believe to be Sasquatch nests, and they're using the recording system.
Wow.
And the beautiful thing, when you start putting these together, you can actually realize, you can learn patterns. Like, say there's no noise, no sound, and then all of a sudden every 5 days you hear the same sound.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like a grunt and snorting, guttural type thing, right? You're like, oh, they must go away for 5 or 6 days, right?
Yeah.
In order to do so. Oh, so when we were out in the woods, let me pull down that really cool comment. I'll bring that right up for a minute. In a minute, J Malk 77. So this is what I found out in the woods that day. We found, I'm sorry, as a team, we found this. Look at these trees.
Wow.
See these trees? Look at the bends on those. You see them?
Right. Yeah.
Those things, they're not even broken. They're like bent into place. It's almost like you would have to, I try to tell everybody, it's like you have to boil them and then bend them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's very odd.
I laid down in here, and it's about 8 feet long, and it's about 5 feet. Oh yeah, I went right in. Come on.
So maybe a shelter is what you're thinking.
Well, this is what we're thinking. So when we approached this road, there were 4 of them, and there was some were bigger, some there were different shapes, but most of them had the same type of bent design, going this way with trees and then this way with trees to create a roof.
And there were no other trees in the area like that, huh?
No, we walked all around. We found we would find twists and bends that kind of led up to this little location. We actually were like, let's follow them. And this is what we started. It was nuts. The place was nuts. So I'm like, listen, get out your recorders, right?
Yeah.
Stephen was there, Walter.
I see what he did there. I'm still stumped.
Did you see that? I was like, going to say, hey, bada bing,
that was good.
Hey.
That was good.
Cha-ching, But so we were out there. He was out there with us, Walter and Patty Burke. Brother-sister combo, and they go out there, and that's what they do. So I'm like, listen, you guys have to go back out to this location and drop some recorders, man, so we can do a follow-up show. I mean, we have to find out if this place is like a little busy hub. It's nuts. Mm-hmm. The things that happened that day were nuts. You know what I mean? Right. It says bend in from both ways, right? So let's look at this one. Now, you were in the Bridgewater Triangle with me, right? This says, I grew up in the Bridgewater Triangle. I love this. I never saw the Thunderbird or Bigfoot, but always heard the stories. And the Bridgewater Triangle is huge. Is a huge area, and it's huge in the even the paranormal world. It's not even just about cryptids. It's about, like you said, aliens, cryptids. You said it exactly right. That's why we use it in my intro, because they told me I'm supposed to have a niche on a podcast, and I'm supposed to do a certain. I don't know if you don't know me so well, but I'm not a niche guy. I don't know if you noticed.
Well, your show is called Banter with Richie B, so you left it very open-ended.
Yes, yes.
Which I get. Yeah, so go ahead.
It fits perfect, right? I mean, honestly, I'm everywhere. I mean, we've been everywhere since you've been on here, right? We've been everywhere, right?
True. It's true.
Do you recognize? This is Patty Burke. Oh, Patty Burke just says those trees were definitely manipulated into those structures. She was there also that day. Do you remember this picture?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember maybe not that specific picture, but I remember seeing that giant X in the woods with you that was so perfectly lined up, those 90-degree angles and everything.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. And I remember going out there before you got there, just kind of look around, because I get antsy when I'm near that property. I'm like, oh, I got to get out there. It's like a kid waiting to jump in a pool or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I got to get out there. And we went out there, man. I was just looking around for different changes, because I always take pictures of when I'm out there, and then I can compare them to the changing of the environment, because they constantly change it on me.
Oh yeah, of course.
They're constantly rearranging the place.
Of course.
And when we went over to the left, and I looked up and went, holy shit. It's the biggest X I've ever seen. It's probably 30, 40 feet high, you would say. It
was humongous. Yeah.
It's huge. And like you said, look at the middle of that. Look how lined up perfectly that X is. I don't even know if I shared this on the show before or not, but that X right there is on my property in the Bridgewater Triangle. And it was there the day that Matt came out with Annika and did the whole piece about Bigfoot in the Triangle. And you look at this, not only that, if you could zoom in and look, we can't hear it. I'm talking about somebody that gets this picture and screenshots or whatever. But if you really zoom in, you could follow the one on the right side, and there's a little teeny pine tree that X is resting on. Do you remember me bringing that up to you?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
brought that up to you, and I said to you, I said, let's play devil's advocate, right? The wind blows and one lands like this, right?
Yep.
And then the wind blows and one lands like this, right?
Yep.
Well, where does the exact perfect center come into play, and why are they resting on pine trees? Remember that conversation?
It's just like the same thing with like ghost hunting, right? It's like so much of this you could chalk up to coincidence, but once you have so many coincidences, you have to start to ask questions.
Oh, absolutely, right?
And especially if the coincidence is just too perfect, right?
Exactly. And if you remember, do you remember when we were being kind of silly and knocking on trees? And I was telling you how they said in the video, it talks about how they sound like Chewbacca.
Yeah.
And Dave and Annika, what'd they say? Remember they said they heard a knock?
Yeah.
Did she ever revisit that moment with you in the car on the ride back or anything? Did she bring that up to you? Because I didn't really bring it up either, and I really should have. I'm still dumbfounded by why I didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, we had a long ride back, so we talked about a lot of things. I don't remember if that specifically came up, but I mean, the one thing we did talk about is that we both agreed we were so glad we did that with both of you guys, just because it was such a cool experience to be with two people who are so entrenched in the whole Bigfoot thing, Sasquatch. And like, we're two people who are always interested and curious about it, but never really took the time to explore it. And you were exactly the perfect people to do that. I hope I'm not going too far off track here, but the way that whole thing came about with bringing Annika is she had reached out to me in a DM because she liked my videos and said, hey, if you ever want to do something, we should do a video together. She wanted to initially, her idea was to do the Ghost and Gravestones tour in Boston, which is a trolley tour where they take you to haunted places and tell you spooky stories and whatnot. And like, that was a fine idea for sure. But I had also recently met Dave McCullough, who could take us Bigfoot hunting, get the real deal, like get out in the woods, get to like not on a like official scripted tour, like to actually go out and like be someone on a hunt. And she was all for it. Again, crazy, willing to get in the car and walk into the woods with strange men, but she didn't. And
she was absolutely great. She was awesome. Can I tell you my favorite part of that whole video is at the end when she says we're trying to make sure Matt's a responsible driver. Yeah. And then you said, I don't want to get in a car accident again. And she's like this, and she goes again. Her face is so genuinely nervous. It's just
I know. I got to release someday. Yeah, I know. Someday, like, that's one of those stories where, I was recording for like 5-6 hours between the ride there, being with you guys, and then the ride home. And it's like, I got so much amazing, great moments from you, from Annika, from Dave that like I couldn't fit into my 2-minute long video. It's one of those days where I wish I could start a podcast just to release all the unreleased stuff, all the, just like the, I don't know, Matt Shearer unfiltered, something like that.
You must have a ton of those. That must be endless for you.
So much. The thing is like, I just don't have time for something like that right now. It's like the work takes up so much time. And then on top of that, I got 2 little kids. And as you know, Richie, that takes a lot of attention too. I mean, I don't know why you decided that you were going to like quintuple that number of 2 little kids. You're like, I got to have more kids. And, and for me, I was like, okay, 2 is a lot, but who knows? Maybe things will change down the line and I'll want more. But yeah, so it takes up a lot of time and I don't really have time to do any podcasts.
No, it's hard, and you'd be great at a podcast, obviously, especially with all your content. You could go on forever. And I think my suggestion to you is I'm obviously new at this, and I'm learning, and thank God I found Bobby Lee to help me. Otherwise, I'd be some dude in a tool shed going, hey, anybody out there? You know what I mean? So
yeah, of course.
Anybody say hi to me so I know you're here. Thanks. So some weird graspy 670 kids. No, Walter, just 83. Back off, buddy. Here's a question. Anybody got any? All right, if you got any questions for Matt, man, about paranormal thing, I want to ask Matt.
Yeah.
When the hell you gonna actually go out and go Bigfoot with me? I'm not talking microphones and cameras. I'm just talking, hey, dude,
let's real investigation,
like a real one. Like even with the Burks, that area out there, you would absolutely love, dude.
I'd love to, man. I just have to. I don't know.
Again,
timing is the factor, and I don't exactly live super close to Bridgewater, but it would be worth.
I'm not talking Bridgewater, buddy.
No, where do you want to go? You
No,
want to come up to
sir.
Framingham?
Western Mass, sir.
Western Mass. All right.
Yep.
Well, I do
Well-
live that way. So if you want to pick me up on the way out there, we can carpool.
Yeah, I'll take the Mustang.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll write candy on the side and go
Bring-
look for Bigfoot.
Bring the bats.
Bring the bats. You got to have the bats. But no, seriously, I think that, if you say, hey, Sunday at 2:00 in the afternoon is my best window. You know what I mean? I'd be
Right.
like, dude, like even just for you to check it out, because I know we all got to work. And like you said, we all got the little ones. We got the, the spouse, everything else like that, all that stuff going on. But if you could squeeze like 2.5 hours in.
Yeah.
Listen to me, Matt. Bro, look at me.
2.5. 2.5. I got you. I'm looking. Looking
Two,
right.
2.5, bro. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. All right.
And,
All right.
and listen, an hour, that's probably like travel time.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? We could
Yeah.
show you something.
That's time for banter.
It's time for banter. So listen, now they're all going off. So I got, again, J Malk says, check out that question right there. Have you ever seen any of that?
Shadow people myself? No, but how about you in the Bridgewater Triangle?
I have seen, all right. I have not, all right, maybe it was the Bridgewater Triangle. I don't remember, because I know I did a lot of Plymouth investigations. I've done stuff over by the ocean. I've done cemeteries. I definitely, absolutely 100% in my lifetime, and I don't know whether to say apparition or shadow, because I'm on with the cemetery. I have seen on 5 different occasions either an apparition or a shadow person in the cemetery.
Wow.
One was so sad because it was a young girl, and I picked her up. She was probably like 9, mid-century type gob, the whole 9 yards. And I was apparently the only one that could see her, because I was yelling to my sisters. They have me on EVP recording. Go, can you see her? Can you see her? She's walking right down the middle of us. Can you see her? And to me, what I saw was a black shadow figure with very, very little bit of like features. Do you know what I mean? And just walking, just like they talk about that kind of that walk, like they can't hear you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't even know you're there. It was very, very eerie. And then I had one up in oh my God, I always forget, Burial Hill in Plymouth up there. That one was pretty aggressive and moved very fast. So that was definitely a shadow person. So that one concerned me.
Wow.
That one was concerning, and I kind of moved away, and unfortunately kind of stayed on the, unfortunately I say, because I was hoping if I moved away, it wouldn't keep where it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm glad it didn't come closer.
Yeah.
But it was on the outskirts all the time during my investigation. I was just like, I don't like that dude.
That's
And other people saw that one. So I knew it was just a straight up shadow person. The other one could have been my mind's eye and psyche and all that stuff.
Right.
But that was pretty nuts. So shadow people kind of, how do you feel about those though? When you hear shadow person, what do you think?
I got to see it to believe it, I guess, kind of thing. It's one of those things where I'm not like terrified of it. I mean, I guess in a sense, I don't want to say I'm over my fear of the paranormal, but I certainly am very eager to learn more about it and experience more of it. So the thought and the threat of a shadow person doesn't scare me away. I kind of want to, I'm totally willing to put myself out there and, maybe catch one of those someday.
So with that, that's funny, because that brings me to this. When you went out, how many friends did you go out? You did some ghost hunting. You were kind of serious at it? Like, friends kind of hang out, like we're going to go out Friday night at this time type of deal?
Yes. It was our like weekly ritual for a while.
All right. How many? How many were you?
How many hunts?
No, how many people?
Oh, how many of us?
Yeah.
There were, let's see, maybe 3 or 4 of us were very consistent. And then there was a rotating cast around that of, girlfriends, boyfriends, who would show up and come for a couple investigations. But I would say at max, we went out with probably like 8 people at minimum 2, like me and my friend Jimmy. It was mostly me and my friend Jimmy on most of these. He was the one who was, more sensitive. I was the one who had a more scientific approach. And so we were a good match.
So, all right. So when you were out, say you were out with like 4 or 5 people, right?
Yeah.
Every person in the investigation has kind of a deal to do, right? Now, what was your deal in the group? Were you the tech guy?
Yeah, probably. I was the one who had gone out and bought some of the equipment early on. So I had an EMF detector to pick up electromagnetic field fluctuations. I had an infrared thermometer to detect changes in temperature, because some people believe that could be tied to stuff. I had my audio recorder with me. I had a camera with me. So yeah, I guess I know I went out. It was just
how old are you?
Little old digital flash camera.
No, those are the best. Those are the
Yeah.
best. Those are absolutely the best. Don't anybody tell you different. Excuse me, I shouldn't say the best. Polaroids are always the best. But that little
Polaroids
digital
are
flash
fun.
cameras are pretty kick ass.
Yeah.
But how old were you when you were doing this?
Oh gosh, 18, 19.
Really?
Yeah, probably 18, 19 were like my peak of it.
many-
I think I started probably around 16, 17.
Damn. Now, I mean, so you talked about this in school
with friends. Yeah. This was
really,
this was one of our hobbies for sure. It was how I bonded with some people, and made some. You make really good friends when you're in like a weird situation with like potential death, and you're in like
you get close quick, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you're like scared shitless, if I may swear on your podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, shitless. Please do. Absolutely.
It's a great way to bond.
It really is. So all right. So now, real quick, because I wanted to do a little more Bigfoot, but you got me so intrigued here now. So when you're out with your friends, you're like 16, 17 sounds crazy, man.
As soon as we had cars, we were like going to great, to cemeteries, and then the battle sites, like I said, from the Revolutionary War. And then we advanced to trying to break into places that we probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, right. We've all done that. Trust me. We've
Yeah.
all have done that. And that's fine. We don't want to. Statute of limitations might have run out. I mean, you're only like what, 19 and a half now, so they might not have run out yet.
19 and 3/4. I know I look young, Richie. I look young.
Get out the van, honey. We gotta pick up Matt.
I gotta finish finals this week, okay?
That's the one that says candy on the side. Let's go. So that's the other thing. My buddy Steve, his brothers have this huge, like a big paranormal thing where they kind of go around the country and and he can tell you some more, but I don't want to get into it much of his story, because we're going to have that on, and hopefully his brother's on, but they go all around the country as well. More so, I should say, is what I'm looking for, and really get into it big time. And they got some crazy stuff, so I'm hoping to get them on the show as well. That'd be absolutely kick ass, if I may swear on my podcast. Man.
Ass doesn't count.
Ass does not count. You heard it here first. All right.
Put that on a bumper sticker.
Yeah. Ass don't count. I'm gonna put that on a Bigfoot t-shirt.
Oh my
Speaking of Bigfoot t-shirts, go to banterwithrichieb.com/shop and get your, what is the phrase? Ass don't count shirt here.
Yeah, exactly. Ass doesn't count. I like ass don't count though better. Yeah.
Ass don't count. So I'm gonna make up a Bigfoot. He's gonna have a big old ass, and it's gonna say, shit's on the shirt, it's gonna say ass don't count, and it's gonna have your quote by Matt Shearer.
And then on the back, it's ... as a swear. Just in case there was any question about the context of that, we want to be clear. That's where that came from.
Bobby Lee, erase this part, please, so I don't have to copyright or pay him anything. Thank you. We're good. I got this.
Oh, man. Yes.
I got this shit squared away. Don't worry about that. So now this leads me to the next question. Then I want to touch on, before we go, I want to touch on Bigfoot real quick one more time.
Sure.
Because I want to show you something that I want you to kind of look at as kind of like somebody from the outside looking in.
Sure.
So when you said you're out with your friends, you're 16, 17, and you get into ghost hunting for a few years, right?
Yep.
Now, your wife, you mentioned did the Ouija board, right?
Yep.
Okay, so your wife, was she a friend on the outskirts and heard of, handsome boy Matt doing all the ghost hunting stuff in the middle of the night with his friends, and was she from a totally different crowd, and you just like shared it with her?
Yep, totally different friend group. It wasn't until we started dating that I opened up to her about my fascination with the paranormal.
Oh, see, that's what I see. This is what I was getting at. So my fiance and I, she's never experienced any of this stuff. And I share this on Paranormally Blonde podcast, Monday nights at 7 p.m., I might add. Paranormally Blonde, I was a guest on their podcast, and they actually invited me on. They're part of the Get Haunted Network, and they invited me on this platform that I get to be on in such an early infancy of my podcast career, which is really a gift, and I appreciate it. But so what was I saying? Oh, so I told them that I was laying in bed one night and I like, felt something approach me. And I've had this happen many times. Well, my fiance never did. And finally, after a few minutes went by, to make this, quick as a story, make it short, she says, it's really cold in here. Can you feel that?
Ooh,
and I said to her, yeah, he's been standing there for 10 minutes now. and she, hey, at that moment, I really wished I had a Ouija board. Because that shit's about to get spooky, right? So I literally, honest to God, I took her hand, I sat her up on my bed, we both sat up on the bed, and he stood there. I knew he was gonna, right? And I said, he's right here, and I moved her hand through this apparition, and I moved her hand around the apparition to feel his arms, his shoulder, his head, and just back through him again. And I said, you feel that? It's like Jello with battery cables in it, jumper cables from a car in it. And she felt the whole, and it's like 40 degrees lower than where your other arm is. That's what it was like.
And and he was just letting you move your hand through. That's the part that
it happens all the time. It's happened many times to me. So, and then on top of that, I pulled out my K2 meter, and her and I had a conversation with him.
Yeah,
it was him. So, and we narrowed down where he was from, things like that. You always got like an idea, especially when you're sensitive, who it is and all that. But you're going through the process to scientifically prove what you're feeling and validation. So validation is the key to this.
To back up what you're feeling. Yeah, exactly. Because to put feelings into actual some kind of data is the goal.
It really is. Well, you're right. You get more data because now you have one piece of data plus two pieces of data, right? Now you have two pieces instead of one. So I'm not saying I don't believe in anything. Like, I'm having a hard time believing, like they talk about Bigfoot with the cloaking thing, right? You ever hear that? They talk about him being a cloaker, like he can cloak. I'm not there yet, bro. I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I'm not there.
Okay.
I'm not there. So one day I was out in my backyard and I brought my oldest child with me, my daughter, Riley Jane. She come out and I was standing there on this mound and I heard something and I said to her in true paranormal investigator fashion, I didn't yell anything out. I said, what are you experiencing right now? And she said, I can hear something running at me, but I cannot see it.
Oh, geez.
Almost verbatim, the same phrase that went through my head. And I turned to her and I said, get down the game trail, go. And we left. And I don't know if it was off in the distance running at me or not, but it seemed like it was right up on me. Right.
Wow.
So, hey, Bobby Lee, do we have that picture of that, the track, the Bigfoot track, the track walking through the snow and a 1 foot. Look at it. See?
Okay.
All right. So this cred goes to my buddy, Mike Trainer. If he's out there, you guys know he's been a guest. This is what we had on the show. We didn't include this that time on the show that we had with Mike Trainer, Matt Moniz, and Dave McCullough, which was my first show. Can you imagine those?
It's a hell of a lineup for your first show.
That badass. Oh. You know Matt Moniz, right? You met him in Exeter.
Yes, I did.
You sat with him on the porch talking. That dude is crazy.
He's got stories. He's got stories. And he's one of those people. It's so funny. I had said to my friends, I met some friends from Exeter there at the UFO festival. And I said to them, I'm not leaving until I talk to someone who has an abduction story. And Matt Moniz is the first person I talked to. And he had like several abduction stories. It's wild.
There's
many. Yeah. And I'm sorry. I know you want to tell this thing. I think this is important. I just want to point out with that Exeter story, it was very important to me to kind of show up and I had two goals. One, to not just be another guy kind of mocking paranormal enthusiasts, because obviously I am one, especially when it comes to extraterrestrials and ghosts, but also kind of, show the silly side of it and the acknowledge that to outsiders, it sounds crazy, but then you hear a story like Matt Moniz's and how it was led to a really traumatic experience for him and hit on a really important point, which is if you feel that your abduction moment or potential abduction moment was traumatic, like talk to somebody. He said that. He was like, get the help. Like, you're only doing yourself a disservice by keeping that inside because it's going to come out at a time where you really don't want it to. So that was the message that I really wanted to put out there. And I'm really, really grateful for Matt Moniz for allowing me to have that conversation with him.
Isn't it mind blowing the way what you just said is so profound to the people? Like for myself, you're talking about like somebody that went through the experience that I went through. I should talk to somebody about it. Right.
Right.
But we can't put the 2 and 2 together where he's talking about it like I lost my son. He's talking about how he was abducted by aliens, man.
Yeah.
Like, go get yourself help.
Right. But also it doesn't even necessarily mean like professional help, right? That's why I know he started a support group for people who believe they've been abducted. And that's exactly the kind of thing he's talking about. Talk to people who can relate to it. Just talk to people who know, like we're having this conversation right now, you know? We've had weird experiences in our lives that we can't explain. And luckily we have both in, our own lives found communities of people who can relate to that. And it's good to have a safe space to bring those things up.
Yeah, that's just it's just to hear it, I think, and in a human point of way, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just so mind blowing the way it's so common to him. And I was just on the phone with him last night. He called me up and we talked for like 45 minutes about the structures that we had found. He's so willing to give his brilliant mind out. You know what I mean? And he's such a great interview, by the way. I don't know how you felt, but when I sat. And I know him. I've been out in the woods. You know what I mean? We've been Bigfoot hunting. But when he sat down in front of that camera, he's serious, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He is serious and he is passionate and he is a matter of fact. There is no bullshit there. And, and I love that. And that crew I had on my, I love everybody on my show. I've been very fortunate to have some pretty kick-ass first 3 shows. You being definitely one of that 3, So I was just like so pumped to have him. And then him calling me last night to go, hey, I saw those pictures, man. And he wants to talk about it. And I'm like, well, because I needed to know, have they been seen around the country before? Like I'm doing my research, you know what I mean? Because I want to know as an investigator, what did I find? Because it seemed like to me, man, we found a village. I mean, me, the Burks and Steve, that's the way we feel. You know what I mean? So UFO stories in Mass. Yes. Imagine that, Walter. You're out in Western Mass. They don't come out to Western Mass. You know why they don't come out to Western Mass, right?
Because no one goes to Western Mass. No, I'm just kidding.
There's nobody there to abduct, but you might be missing a few cows, or they might look different. So that's cool. So he's a big part of helping me. Dave McCullough's another one. Mike Trainor's absolutely brilliant. And he's the one I get out in the woods with a lot. He's more of a biologist type, animals and stuff like that. And he can explain it away, but he's 100% believer. And he goes, I've even looked at him. I just know animals in a sense to where I can't argue it. They're real, and I'm still over here with my scientific paranormal investigator mind going, oh, there's got to be something here I'm missing, but I know I'm not. Because look at this.
To ask all those questions.
Yeah. So you as Mr. Paranormal guy, right? WBZ guy, right?
Right.
What do you see so unique about those tracks right there?
Oh, let me see.
It's almost drawn out for you.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really in a normal pattern, I guess you could say. I mean, they're in a straight line, right?
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other. Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner. Right?
Nailed
Is that
it.
Crazy?
Interesting. Yeah.
So this is the belief of this. Everybody who was here with Mike Trainer on the shows, and I think maybe it was last week. I don't know which one, but they don't understand. Hold on. So this pattern of this feet is believed to be a left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but it's in a straight line. That's the key. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I wanted you to see this because I wanted you to have one little touch on the way out the door about Bigfoot. I want this to be the drive for you.
Okay.
Look at that. You
need this and try to capture that.
Yeah, you need to find this. So the only way you're going to find this is to get in my weird van, grab yourself a baseball bat.
Yep.
Okay. We don't even need an actress this time.
I like that on our own. I like that Bigfoot was clearly doing like a runway strut. Like it was Project Runway in the woods right there. There's some models.
Oh, hey girl. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Bigfoot tried on some clothes. Someone left out some XXXL clothes in a dumpster somewhere. And
what's the quote about the ass now?
Yeah. Ass doesn't count. Ass doesn't count.
Awesome. Before you go, I just want to bring up a couple of questions here. So this is Wojo's brother. Told me you're online, and I wanted to say hi. What's up, dude? Looking forward to being on my podcast. Oh, cool. We'll talk, man. I appreciate that so much.
Awesome.
And then Swamps of Hockomock are deep, and there is a lot We don't understand. Dude, why so many questions?
I was a little trigger happy with that enter button. I just got to get it out as quick as possible. Oh, I forgot to say.
Dude, we all have that family member, right? Like, hey, Rich, send. What's going on? Send.
Oh my gosh,
for Christmas, send. Mom called, send.
But you know what?
Send.
I don't know what's worse though, that or the serial voice memo people who send like these long voice memos. Like,
oh, dude, the voicemail I can get like that. I apologize. I can get that like on talk to text. But the beautiful part about talk to text with me, brother, is I don't use my punctuations anyways. I paid zero attention in English.
Oh, that's
so
fine.
It's
Dude,
one long sentence that you get to figure out. Okay?
Talk to text is fine. I'm talking about like, in a chat window when all of a sudden that little play button shows up with the audio file and you press play to listen. Do people not do that to you? Like that is a thing that I get that all the time, dude. It's like it's like I can't sit there and listen. Like sometimes I'm with my kids and sure, maybe I can glance down and read a text. I'm not going to sit and listen to a 1.5 minute long voice memo from somebody rambling what they could have just summed up in like 2 sentences. But anyway,
get it out, brother. You feel good? Deep breath, kid. Deep breath. Woo! Hoosa. Everybody give Matt some hoosa, man. I told you, none of that work crap here tonight. I told
feel
you
so
that.
much better. So much better.
Oh, man. That's unbelievable. Well, you're an awesome dude. So listen, I don't want to keep you much longer. I know it's late for you. I mean, you're probably, young man like yourself, probably in bed usually every night at what, 7:15?
I mean, my 3-year-old is probably loving that I haven't put her to bed yet right now. So
that's huge. My 4-year-old's feeling the same,
it.
dude. Yeah, feeling the same. Absolutely. So listen, tell everybody, because I could sit here and try to reiterate where you are. Tell them how to check out your stuff.
Oh, yes. So, it depends on what platform you're on, because unfortunately I couldn't be one of those people with the same handle on every platform, but I'll run through them quickly. Instagram, Reporter Matt. That's a really easy one to remember. Twitter X is Matt WBZ. That's the station I work for. WBZ. So Matt WBZ.
Well, that's right, Jim. Welcome to WBZ Radio. We're here with Matt Shearer.
WBZ, And if you want to listen, but if you're more of a TikTok person, if you're on the younger side, just WBZ News Radio on TikTok. I don't do it on the personal account. I do it on the station account. So that's where you'll find not just me, but other reporters putting up really good work too.
Oh,
mostly
awesome.
Me though. Mostly me.
Right. Is that all there is right there? That's it. And what about the Matt Shearer podcast coming soon when he gets time and his kids graduate in 17 years?
Yes. Like make a memo to yourself. Mark your calendars for 12 years from now.
Do the math, somebody. Who's good with math? Somebody help us. Bobby Lee, help us quick. What's 12 years from now?
35.
Quick. All right, 35.
Almost 36. Almost 36.
That's right, Jim. In 2036, we'll have the Matt Shearer podcast, and I want you to be the first ones there. Unfortunately, I'm too old. I'll be dead. Back to you, Bob.
Dude. But seriously, Richie, thank you so much for having me on and everything.
Listen, thank you, dude. I am so excited that you came on my show. I'm so happy, man. I was like, just boom, light on a marble head. I'm like, what a perfect Christmas story. You know what I mean? But what I'd like to do, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, bro.
Merry Christmas, man. And this is something I said to you on the phone, and I'll say it on the podcast as well, because I had this realization in that moment that there's that song, that Christmas song that promises scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long ago. But those I don't know about your family, but ghost stories don't typically come up at Christmas dinner. But we should change that. Christmas should have more ghost stories. And here we are right now telling ghost stories.
Yeah. So what song? Wait, what song is that?
It's the most wonderful,
time of the year. Exactly. I got it now. All right. Awesome, dude. Hey, Bobby Lee.
Sweet.
Bobby Lee.
Great job, Bobby Lee.
Yeah, outstanding job. You are amazing, man. And I'm glad you got to meet my friend Matt.
Yes, I'm so glad I got to meet Bobby Lee, a fellow producer. It's awesome.
Listen, as she was so nervous to do that too. But real quick before we get off the air, if there's anything in the future that you need as we grow, open door, always.
You're awesome. Thanks,
always,
Richie.
brother.
Yeah,
always, brother. Because
we're
gonna be all right.
I have a feeling that one appearance in Bridgewater wasn't the last time you'll be in one of my stories. So we'll make it happen again soon.
Pot do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, check it out, man. Thank you for joining us tonight, man. I hope you enjoy my friend Matt like I do. I wanted to bring him to you guys so you could see what he does and how he touches people. It's a great time of year for that. and he's got that paranormal edge. And he's, like I said, he's open-minded about the cryptos. So I'm wicked psyched that you all got to meet him, man. Listen, go to my TikTok, go to my Instagram, check out Banter with Richie B at Facebook, banterwithrichieb.com/shop. Check that out on my website. And check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, man. You got to smash that button. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, and like button. Damn it. I'm done with this. I'm sick of begging. Now, listen, for a Christmas present for me, get your sisters, cousins, uncles, roommates, Steve, Bob, Mike, Tom, Susan. I don't care. Get them to join, okay? Thank you again so much, Matt Shearer. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes.
Next week, I'm thinking about putting an alphabet soup with my guests, with all my fans together. Just come on in and shoot the shit and have a great holiday, and then we'll take a break. How's that?
Awesome.
Right? Thank
Love
you
it.
so much for coming, Matt. Bobby Lee, kick-ass job. Good night, everybody. Say good night, Matt.
Good night, Richie.